Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you. How you guys been today? That's good, that's good. There you go. That's what I like to hear. All right, to get started though, who was here last week for Parker's speech? Raise your hand, raise your hand. See some over there, see some over there. Were you guys here for Parker's speech last week? Did you guys go to Parker's speech last week? A few. All right. Who here enjoyed it? Let's go. That's what I hear. That's what I like to hear. Some people over here. What? Who enjoyed Parker's speech? There you go. But what I really liked about Parker's speech is that in his speech he said, not everything or every day is promised. Just think about that for a bit. Not everything that you want will happen. Not every day you will see a loved one. And that might hit hard for some of us because we might not have that thing that we want. We might not have that loved one that used to be in our lives. And it can be hard for us sometimes. And it can make us question our faith too. Because it made me question my faith whenever I was in middle school and high school. Whenever I moved a bunch, I questioned my faith a lot. But one thing that I always went back to was that God knows what's best for me. God knows the plan that He has for me. And so even though I didn't think that I needed that path or that I wanted that path, that was the path that God knew that I needed to go through. And so if some of you guys are going through that rough time and not like trying to find your guys' path, trying to find what God has for a purpose for you, come talk to one of our leaders. I know that what Parker was saying last week was that he wants you guys to start asking our leaders or like talking to our leaders, start asking questions to our leaders and just like make a connection with them. And so that's what I kind of want to encourage you guys to like make like a habit to where you guys talk to our leaders about what's going on in your guys' lives, what you guys need help from them. If you guys need encouragement, ask them if they can give you encouragement. Just simple things like that. Just ask our leaders. Ask them for help, for guidance. That's what as a church is here for you. It's here to support you guys no matter what. And it will seem awkward at first, but I really hope that you guys find a leader that you guys can like to talk to, and will just talk to them about your life. But to get where I'm talking about, what I mainly want to talk about is there will always be pain in the world. And that is a rough topic because whether it's like failing your test or losing your friends or even seeing your parents stressed out, there will always be that pain in the world that you have to experience and you have to go through. Like with me, whenever I was in middle school and high school, I moved so many times, like I can't even count them anymore. I moved a lot. And so it was hard for me to make friends and keep them and just to move the next day. And it was rough at some points. I questioned my faith a lot during those periods of times. And I didn't know how to get through it. I didn't have that community that I built like right now to talk about it, to have like a leader come up to me and ask me how my day was. I didn't have that back then. And so that's why my faith just was like declining as I started moving more and more. And it made me question the path that God had for me, because how I looked at it was God has a path for me that even though I was moving, I always knew that God would have that path for me. But as I started moving even more and started losing more friends more, I started questioning that path. Like, why would God put me here if it seems like I'm not needed here? If it's not a good path that I should be put on. And so it got rough whenever I was in middle school and high school. But if you look into the book of Job, it talks about how one of his servants had everything. They had wives, they had like the most fanciest cars, they had everything. And one day Satan saw that, and he thought that the only reason why Job had that faith is because he had all those riches. He had everything that he could ever want. And so Satan wanted to test Job. He wanted to test the Lord. He wanted to test the Lord that Job was actually faithful. Job was his servant. And so they made sort of like a bet. And with a snap of his fingers, everything that Job had, all the family that he had, all the riches that he had, they all just went away just like that. And from someone looking outside in, they might think that Job lost his faith. Job lost everything he had, so why would he trust God? But that was not the case. In fact, Job had a stronger relationship with God after. Even though he was left alone, he had that faith with God. He had that faith in God, and that kind of like pushed him to grow stronger, to trust in the path that God had for him. And so in the end, Job got more riches, got blessed more, because he never lost his faith. He never lost sight of the bigger picture that is God. And so kind of like relating that to my life, I never lost track of the bigger picture. I was always still going to church. I never lost track of that bigger picture. Even though I was going through stuff, I never lost track of that. And so kind of like what I like to like tell myself basically is that once I moved to Colorado, that was just God's path paving it for me. He paved that path for me. And so now I'm a part of a church, a part of a community that has my back, that I can go to whenever I need him. And so that's kind of like what I want you guys to have too. I want you guys to actually talk to our leaders. We're always going to be here for you guys. It may seem awkward at first. It may seem like it might be awkward because if you don't know the leader, of course it's going to be awkward. But over time, I want you guys to know that as leaders, we will always have your back. We'll always be here for you. And just to even ask them how their day is going. You know, maybe they're going through something. But the main message is never lose sight of that bigger picture that God has for you. Never lose sight of that path that God will pave for you. And if you need help finding that path that God has for you, I would recommend just doing like the 3 simple things. Just read your Bible, pray, and come to church. If you don't know where to start in your Bible, start in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the eyewitnesses of God. That tells you how God lived, how God treated people. It tells us how, as Christians, we should treat people, how we should live, how we should talk. And so that's where I recommend you guys to start in your Bible. If you guys don't know where to start yet, you guys should start in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then also pray. I get it, praying is hard. Whenever you have to pray during like Thanksgiving dinner, since that's coming up, it can be hard. But just think about it like you're talking to a friend. Like if I was talking to Carly, if she was right here and I was talking to her, just talk to God like you would talk, like how I would talk to my friend. And for come to church, that just leads into like the community that I have built around me. As the church, this community helped me in growing my faith. And that's what I hope that it does for you guys too, that it helps you guys grow in your guys' faith, helps you become stronger. And that's why I just recommend you guys just to go ask a leader to talk to them. Just talk to them. But that's mainly all I have for today. I know Matt is going to pray you guys out, but thank you guys so much for having me. It was nice being here, guys. Thank you.